You're listening to the Wildlife at the Crossroads podcast, your online adventure into Southwest Texas College's wildlife management program in Uvalde, Texas.
Man, we're out of another deer season, and a dry one, I'll say that much. And,
it has been dry.
Yeah, but we want to welcome our audience, those of you that like to watch us cut each other down a little bit. But anyhow, today we're going to talk about the MLD program, or the Land Management Assistance Program by the Parks and Wildlife. And in order to do so, we got David here, David Rios, who's been with us for a long time, and he was involved with our last podcast, so most of you should know him by now. But he works with a lot of landowners. And so today we're going to discuss now that the deer season's over, what's left? Is there something else we need to do? And it's all going to evolve around data collection. So, David, if I'm holding an MLD.
What is MLD, Bob?
Management Land Deer Permit.
Managed Lands Deer Program.
Yes.
Oh, it's not a permit, it's a program.
Well, it's both, either,
Yeah.
but it's a program, yes. But the point is, it is a situation that allows us some advantages as landowners.
Correct.
Doesn't it?
We say it's incentive-based,
Okay.
habitat-focused. Pull that mic closer.
Or get closer to the table, one of the two.
Let me adjust this. There we go. Okay, Bob, we say that the Managed Lands Deer Program is incentive-based and habitat-focused.
Okay, but what's that mean? I mean, to the average gentleman out there that's trying to manage their places.
Well, it means people, landowners, land stewards that are involved in good, responsible habitat management receive some benefits, right? Some incentives, being a longer hunting season and a harvest recommendation specific to that property.
Okay, which is very unique, because being the oldest member here, I remember a time, and David might have had a little bit of that when he managed the ranch down south of Kingsville, and when we had only a deer hunting season, which was quite short compared to what you'd have today if you're under a management land deer program or permit. And so basically, now we could start hunting in first part of October and go through what? February, end of February.
End of February, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
with a rifle.
Yeah, but that allows people in the various degree. There's three types of or segments of the program. What are they, Dave?
There's not three, there's two.
Two. Oh well,
We
I've
have a
learned
harvest
something.
option and a conservation option.
Yeah, you're right.
There was a time back in the late 1900s when we had three levels.
Yep.
1900.
But
Yeah,
You're aging us, Dave.
you're making me
Aging us.
feel pretty daggum old now.
today we're down to two levels: conservation option and harvest option.
Yeah, and so what's that mean? You know, when you talk about a conservation option.
Well, conservation option is probably the more intensive and more popular level that you can operate at, and there's going to be some requirements to be eligible for that, right? You need a wildlife management plan that is approved by your wildlife biologist for that area. And then you need to be involved in at least 2 habitat management practices each year. And you need harvest data from the previous years. And you would need the 2 previous years' harvest data and habitat management practices in addition to that wildlife management plan to be eligible. And then one more thing is going to be game surveys from the previous 2 years. So with all of those things checked off, you would be eligible to enroll in the conservation option.
And the other option?
The other option is harvest option, and it's much easier to participate in that. And that's largely because the habitat management recommendation is not specific to your property. It is based on our
Regional.
Our regulatory spotlight surveys.
Yeah.
That we do all across the state every year. And then we have a formula in our computer system, in our database, that produces a harvest rec based on the amount of acres the landowner has enrolled and what our regulatory spotlight surveys show for that area.
Okay, so we have two options, and obviously, you know, most of the individuals I work with are going to conservation option, and which is what is really nice about that conservation option is you found out what you have to satisfy, the steps you satisfy. David just mentioned them, but there's other things. The benefits of that conservation option is what's really cool because it allows you not only extended season, but of both sexes, both bucks and does can be harvested from first part of October to the usually around February 28th.
Get a 6-month hunting season.
Yes, which is a
So-
considerable length of time. And it facilitates, or I think, you know, the objective behind the whole deal there is so that the Parks and Wildlife is trying to accommodate landowners to satisfy their harvest recommendations made by either by state agencies or their consulting constituents or what have you. So it gives you a lot of time and freedom. And being the eldest member here, I remember a time when we didn't have that. We had, because one of the nice things about the conservation option is that, you know, if a landowner needs tags, he calls state biologists like David and says, I need some more tags. And then David, based on the fact that they've done their survey, they obtained their survey information and they are conducting an adequate harvest, he'll issue more tags. And the ultimate ingredient there is the fact that is you could get enough tags when deer are moving, you could actually satisfy a substantial harvest quota, which is sometimes hard to get.
So I should emphasize that recommendation is based on the game surveys for the ranch.
Yes.
And the goals and objectives that are outlined in the wildlife management plan. So, you know, when you say more tags, it's going to be the tags that will help get you to those goals and
Yes.
objectives.
Yes, and one of those objectives will be, you know, like you might have a deer to 15 acres, and you might want to go to, which is a pretty high number of deer in South Texas, okay? Then you might want to go to a deer to 30 acres because of dry conditions or just poor range conditions or even under good conditions. You just want to have a number of animals out there that not only are balanced on a sex ratio basis, but more importantly, within the framework of what that land could support. Okay?
The carrying capacity,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yes, sir. And so there we are. We have, you know, the state's been pretty, you know, well documented in allowing landowners more freedom for many years. And years past, that was not available to them, like I said, and it was hard to accomplish your harvest because there's several months, and even in the conservation option, you start hunting in October, and it's pretty warm.
It's hot.
Yes, yeah. Well, to be kind with our Mother Nature, yeah, it's daggum hot. But the point is, deer may not be moving, so you're not going to harvest much. So you're going to have a certain time period during that span of time you're issued to harvest a substantial number
But
of
no
animals.
question, it gives you more freedom to harvest those numbers. And whenever you get those recommendations from the state on the amount of tags, it really allows you that ability to lower that deer herd for a healthier deer herd for the entire property.
Well,
it
that-
really benefits
that's the
entire-
objective. Get it
yeah.
below carrying capacity, and the land will provide.
And it
Ex-
benefits your brush on top of it.
Yes, but look at it now. I don't care how many deer you have on your place. It's so dry.
Yeah.
And we are really hurting. And I saw on the news just last night that, you know, like in portions of Dimmitt and Webb County, where we were the other day on one of the ranches that I'm participating in as a consultant, is one of the hardest hit.
Yeah.
Extremely dry.
No
But,
question.
you know,
So how about dollars and cents, Bob? If you want to add value to a piece of property, perhaps in the hunting lease business,
yeah.
if you have a 6-month hunting season versus a 4-month hunting season.
Very good point.
You've just added value to that hunting lease.
Yes. Yes. So that's a great point to bring up, because people have, and not necessarily always for hunting, but hunting for a lot of people today is just simply an excuse to get outdoors. And so long as you have a long hunting season, there's more time to get outdoors, which I feel is quite important to people. But again, it allows ample amount of time to conduct the things like Daniel was talking about, harvest and what have you. But again, I got to applaud the Parks and Wildlife, because they're trying to work well with landowners. I mean, they're giving them a lot of privileges. But what about the other option?
Harvest option.
Yes.
How popular is that compared to conservation?
It's rarely probably utilized in the South Texas districts.
Okay.
I can think of about 3 people I work with that are on harvest option. Conservation option is definitely the more popular one, and it definitely provides more benefits to the land, to the wildlife, and to the landowners involved in it, just because of the intensity level.
So with the harvest option, if you were using that, you are able to harvest those in October, right? And then when the general season begins, you can start harvesting your bucks. And then
that is correct, but it's a little better than that even. Under harvest option, you can harvest does and spikes starting in October.
Gotcha. Yep. And then you go through the general season, obviously harvest your bucks or does, and then in the general season, that wraps up your bucks, and then you can harvest does or spikes all the way to the end of February.
Well, bucks or
bucks too.
does towards
Bucks too.
through
all the way
February.
through the end
Yes.
of February.
Okay, so it's only October is then when you can only harvest does. Is
That's
that correct?
correct, yeah.
Gotcha. Good
So
deal.
added value, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no question.
Conservation option, you could also hunt bucks during that first month, that month of October.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a rifle.
And then not really pertaining to our area, but in the conservation option, you can do mule deer too, right?
Yes, yeah.
So in West Texas or in the Panhandle, you can enroll for mule deer.
And so what would a person want to harvest during that first month, October? If you have that extra month to hunt, what would you hunt? What would be the benefit there?
I'd harvest. I'd be looking at harvesting. Well, does are important, but everyone's focusing on their bucks, right? And so as a
spikes,
hunter,
bucks
yeah,
would
yes,
be a good thing to
Managing
harvest.
bucks, that's the key. It gives you ample amount of time to be selective, and you got to be very selective when you're harvesting bucks. If you assume calling is effective, which I don't think it's very effective unless you do it very consistently and are correct more than you are wrong, and that's hard to do. I mean, I've seen deer that look less than superior, okay, for lack of terms, and year or two later, boy, outstanding critter, big antlers, what have you. But I've seen the reverse more often than not. So, but those options are available, and landowners have those options. That's what's important, because each land holding should be managed or is managed differently. And so with more options, the more opportunity you have at, cultivating maybe the appropriate genes or reducing that number to reduce the impact on the habitat or whatever your goal might be. Again, it's relatively new, started not too very long ago, but there's also something about it too. Like now, we're coming up on April 1. And if you are enrolled into this type of a program, what I thought was very pertinent in this little podcast we have here is to let people know that there's a deadline to get some things done. And what are those things they've got to get done, David?
Well, we do have an April 1st deadline, and that is fast approaching. We need all of our conservation option of managed lands deer program cooperators to log into the land management assistance database and enter their harvest data and a minimum of 2 habitat management practices that were conducted over the last year. Once that information's entered, that automatically enrolls them in conservation option for the following hunting season.
Okay, and you say habitat management practices. So give the audience a few examples.
So habitat management practices, we're talking about things that a landowner could be involved in that will enhance the quality of the habitat on that property. Some of the more common ones are supplemental water. So all life needs water, and if you can improve the water availability on your ranch, you are enhancing habitat. So some landowners will dig new stock tanks or put out new water troughs and then continue to maintain those through the years.
And another important thing about additional water resources on any ranch is you disperse the browsing pressure. The deer,
Yeah.
I always say, by dispersing water, you disperse the deer herd. You just allow deer to use more of the ranch.
Yes, sir.
Because deer will gravitate around water, especially in this exceptionally hot environment that we manage deer in south of us, okay? So, but what else? What else do you look at?
So grazing is a big one.
Yeah.
And that can be anything from not grazing to grazing in a responsible manner, right? So if we're not grazing, we call it deferred grazing. We put pasture to rest. We're going to allow that herbaceous vegetation to recover before we put cattle back into it. Active grazing, that would be grazing in a prudent and responsible manner. So we would be running light to moderate stalking rates that would be beneficial to wildlife species like quail and deer.
When we're talking about grazing, non-grazing, deferred grazing, that is, so we don't have any cattle. And there's a term on the bottom, the last thing you sign off on that segment, okay, before you hit the submit button, it'll have the duration.
Duration, yes.
Yeah, and so what do you put there? I mean,
So,
that to me is confusing.
yeah, we've kind of clarified that as we've labeled it by months now. So now it's just a matter of months that you deferred that pasture.
Okay, so like last year, we had no cattle on our operation. We could say we
12
deferred
months.
grazing. 12 months, got you.
Yep.
Okay, so that's important for the audience because it was confusing to me as a biologist. I didn't know what to put down really at first. That should clear it up for the folks out there that are listening, because a lot of times they will allow someone else to fill out their information.
Yeah.
But what we're here for is if you have questions or something, contact David or contact Dean and Daniel here at the college, and they could, walk you through or at least address your questions that you may have about the programs. Because they can be, it can get to be a little confusing when you first start. Once you get started, it's a piece of cake. But, and by gosh, I do a lot of them. And landowners, biggest problem I see with landowners when they're filling this stuff out is waiting until the last minute. And then there's no time to panic. They just leave something open, And so we don't want to do that. And so what I'm suggesting is if you have a concern or a question, you can contact David. He's always available. He's busy, but he'll get back to you if he's not readily available by phone. And he could walk you through your stuff if need be. But it's relatively simple. So what else can we do? We're talking about deer management here. Okay, it's all about deer management. And we got a state agency that has been crucial in deer management concepts. Okay, and probably the best game department in the United States. And so what we look at is we're sitting here as a private sector, which we are 98% private in the state. Most of us are out there that own land. We're trying to manage our populations. We have an agencies that's compelled to help us. And they'll come in, do the surveys, Correct me if I'm wrong, David. But what else does the department do that could you feel is really beneficial or should be taken advantage of in the management of deer?
Well, I would stress our district biologists. We have biologists assigned to every county in the state, and they are available to provide guidance to landowners and land managers regarding any wildlife topic that you might have on the property. But they're a great resource. Give them a call, ask them questions, and get involved with their technical guidance program.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, you pay like $250 a year to stay into an MLD.
There is a fee. It's $300.
Or $300, excuse me.
For the conservation option.
So, and you know, you'll hear people, some to say, well, man, just another bunch of money, and you know, or maybe another tax on what I'm doing out here. But really not, because of the monies raised through this program, we're acquiring more biologists.
We have more biologists now than ever, and it's
I think
it's
we're going to
largely
start surveying our state biologists and
Yeah.
find out how many we got. I don't know if we're going to do a spotlight count or harvest, you know, one of the two.
Well, there's more than ever, and it's largely because of that MLDP
Yes,
fee.
sir.
That's where that money's going. However, we're free. If you just want technical guidance, you can call us, and we can help you at any time for free. That fee is specifically for that Managed Lands Deer program.
Yeah, because virtually anybody that's in the program have an assigned biologist on their. His name will pop up on your screen, you know, on your
Nearly,
program.
y'all almost have one in every county now, right?
Yeah, every county is covered in the state. There was a time when many of our biologists had 4 or 5,
Right.
maybe even 6 counties. It's been reduced over time to where now many biologists have just 1 county.
Yeah.
And David, in your career, how's it been to get to know all those landowners?
Oh, that's been great. That's really been the allure, the enjoyment of working with Parks and Wildlife
Yeah.
Department is meeting the landowners, the land managers, and you know, being able to see and visit behind gates that most people never get to go behind, and you know, see what's going on back there with the land management, with the habitat management.
Man, and just landowner stories.
Yeah.
And that's another point, you know, in the conservation option in the MLDP program is you have site visits. They're required minimally one a year anyhow. Correct?
Minimally, 1 a year would be great. Some of our
But they could have more.
Oh yeah.
All they got to do is call.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to go out to the properties and visit the landowners, visit the land managers, develop relationships with those people, and just be available for any questions they might have, any guidance they might need regarding different types of habitat management projects on the properties.
And one thing I want to stress to landowners is that, you know, you give these guys a break. I mean, you know, just because you don't know the gentleman or lady that is now a biologist that would help you out, don't think that just because you don't know them or you haven't seen them around that they're not knowledgeable. Because they got to be pretty well trained. And, you know, and then if they don't have an answer for you, they go to their top guys like David, who's in charge. He's a senior biologist throughout South Texas, so he's in charge of all of them. And basically, they'll go to him and get the appropriate answers, and to any of the questions that you may have. And what I would suggest is to take these youngsters, and they are young, but of course everybody's younger than I am anymore. But basically, take these youngsters and not only befriend them, but learn from them, but also educate them. Okay, because the landowners, as landowners, I've never met a landowner that didn't know his land better than I did. Okay, I mean they know every inch of it. I mean, they've raised their children on it. They've hunted it almost every day of the season. They know where the quail coveys are, where the better bucks are, what have you. They know a lot about their land. But these biologists coming in, you know, they might see something that we landowners watching it every day miss. And that's what I like to suggest. But anyhow, the program is a great, it's a great program. But what happens now, like I mentioned earlier, we're down to the deadline. Okay? All right, so Bobby Z's ranch, I don't finish my data, complete my data into my program. What happens then?
Well, before it goes that far, you're going to be receiving emails and phone calls from Sergio Gonzalez telling you that the deadline's approaching and we don't want to lose you. We want to keep you in the Managed Lands Deer program. So how can I help you get that information entered?
Yep, and Sergio's our biologist in Uvalde, right?
Correct.
You'll get an email from your local biologist. Right?
That's right.
Yeah, you'll get more than one.
Yeah. Now, there has been rare occasions where, maybe somebody was not receiving those phone calls and messages. Maybe they were on an extended vacation or something and the landowner wasn't available, right? So what would happen if you did happen to miss that deadline, if you weren't available for those reminders? The system will automatically boot you out of the Managed Lands Deer program for the following season. So you'd basically be
Start
out for
again?
a year. Yeah, you'd be out for a year. And you'd have to re-enroll that season after
Yes.
next.
Okay.
So you would still have to do your survey data to be able to maintain that.
Correct. Yeah, you would still have to be eligible to re-enroll, so you have to keep up with all of the requirements to get back in.
Could you be in the harvest option, or are you just completely gone from the conservation and harvest?
So you could, I think, I'm not 100% on this.
Okay.
I think you could enroll in harvest option if you missed the conservation option
I think
deadline.
yeah,
Not
I
100%.
think
I'd
you
have to do some
can.
research
I think
on
you
that.
can. I believe you can.
Fortunately, we don't have a lot of people that miss the deadline.
Yeah.
so,
Yep,
so
everybody.
this isn't something that happens
Yeah.
very often.
So anyhow, well, we pretty much covered a lot of it in detail. I think we're pretty good shape, unless you guys are got any other topics to cover.
Well, one thing I want to mention is we had some students that we took to the wildlife meeting in Galveston and competed in a collegiate plant ID competition. This is totally unrelated to MLD, but I want to bring it up because I want to brag about our students.
No, I don't.
We
think
got
it's
some
bragging
good
about your
students.
students. That's the problem. All right, go ahead, Dean. Take the floor, buddy.
Well, I think it's important. We have some great students in our program, and
Daniel's been doing a great job, and basically, they're doing really well, and they took third this year, correct?
no, they did not.
Take
Yes, they
second.
did. I'm kidding. They got their place.
They took third.
Wait a minute. Who is their coach?
Dean's
Dean.
the coach. I'm
Dean
just
is the
picking
coach.
on
I didn't want to
Dean
bring
a
that
little bit.
up, but I'm just saying.
But that's a good thing to bring up. I mean, I'm proud of it. That's the third time that we placed, and we're really, when I first started it with Poncho, okay, I wanted to start a plant team here, okay, and we got our nest cleaned quite easily, for years, and we won it once, and now with Dean. And Daniel, because they're all taking Daniel's wildlife ID course, and that's a pretty extensive piece of work to cut the mustard there on identification of plants. Anyhow, they've excelled, and they're competing against major colleges. I mean, big players. We're Sandlot. I always considered us Sandlot. I say that humbly because that's what I feel we are. And I think that makes us try harder, work harder at what we're trying to accomplish here. And Dean's done a remarkable job. And you notice we kid each other and stuff like that, but that's out of mutual respect because these guys are doing really an awesome job. But we need the caliber of students to work with to fulfill that expertise that it takes to place. And so every once in a while, we're very blessed to get some youngsters that are sharp as tacks, but more importantly, lust to be able to identify wild vegetation.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
Absolutely.
And at that
They
level,
got
it's
that
hard.
desire, and I say lust because that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and you could tell when a youngster got it, because you don't have to tell them to prepare or tell them to study. They're gonna all you need to do is keep feeding them more information on what they need to know. And Dean serves on the committee there at the range meeting and at the Texas Wildlife Society meeting. And, you know, there'd be about 900 people at the Texas chapter meeting. It's a big meeting. So when our Sandlot team comes in there and takes third, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal.
It is. They're competing against juniors and seniors that I've seen been in that competition several years, and experience is key. And so when they can do that well,
Yeah, but not only are they competing with juniors and seniors, some of those juniors and seniors came from here
Yep.
over the years.
that's true. We were
Okay.
competing against some of our former
And
students.
so,
Competing against
what
yourself.
is the most challenging aspect that Dean has to face preparing our team is training freshmen and sophomores. That's the hardest age class to
Yep.
prepare
Yeah.
for the plant team. And Dean, just to give the audience a little bit about, they don't just go out there and they see a big bush and they identify it. Okay, tell them a little the little things that they got to really know.
Right.
I mean,
So it's very challenging. They have a list of plants, and you know, obviously, when we're going around looking at plants, we're calling those names, calling the plants by common name, but they have to know the scientific name. So they've got to know the family and then the genus and species. So. So obviously the meeting's a little bit different, but Texas chapter is at the wildlife meeting where the students' place is more challenging because they can get a seed, they could get a few
that's
leaves,
the
they could
point I
get
wanted to make.
a small seed. They get lots of different looks.
They can take a very common plant and make it look unrecognizable.
Yep. And so honestly, hey, mesquite was on the list. Our students got it right, but I tell you what, there's a lot of other students that miss mesquite. Okay, so it's just how they present that plant and what it looks like, and so the students have to really be on top of their game, and they did well.
Well, you know, they practice a lot.
Yep.
I asked them what they did for spring break. They said they went to the beach. I said, what did y'all do there? They said, we walked around on the sand dunes and identified grasses.
Oh yeah.
That's what they're doing on spring
Yeah.
break. This is how committed they are.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, the mindset that they.
you could get addicted to it if you really like it, and you know, you could be driving along and hit the brakes because you see something that you don't recognize or can't recognize to be correctly named, and you pull off the side of the road. But I've seen students do that a lot. But it's fun, but it's hard. I mean, it's really hard, and then you put the pressure of competition involved, and it gets harder. But anyhow, we're real proud of our students that managed to bring home the third place event because, like I said, they're competing with some pretty big schools from Texas Tech, Texas A&M, you know, it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's
And so
challenging.
Yeah, we had 11 universities, 12 different teams, 50 students, and so.
And who
third
placed
place.
first and second?
First and second, College Station. A&M College Station got first and second. We got third. And so, yeah, that's very impressive. They did outstanding.
Yeah, we'll get first or second sometime, but we don't have the advantage of retaining students for 3 or 4 years. That's where the major schools have a.
Well, we
advantage
can.
over
They
us.
just have to fill their classes.
Well, there's a few students that'll be around for 3 or 4 years, but I don't think you want them on the plant team.
Hey, you know, I've done
Yeah.
I've done some different things before, you know.
Oh, God, that's all I need you guys to be filling students just to keep them on the plant team. Parents will be on me pretty good. But anyhow,
I'm
that
just
was
joking.
a highlight.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else? Because that was that we're proud of Dean.
Yeah, proud of you, proud of
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah,
Definitely.
no,
Very
Daniel
much.
too. So we're a team
And
player.
Daniel, you know, this whole deal is a team sport, and including David Rios. I mean, man, I'm so proud of having y'all into the program because I know where this program came from, where it originated, and it is really wonderful to where I don't have to babysit. That's all I got to say. I got some great people around me. And, you know, my concept in life is if you want to succeed, always hire people that are better than you to really improve, okay? And that's a fact. And you guys are, and I'm proud
Thanks,
of
Bob.
that.
Appreciate that.
And it's been a good deal. And so I think, you know, I don't have a whole lot to say other than
You don't say that very much.
MLD is a great thing. I want to thank David for coming in and taking his time because he is busy. And I want to thank him because he does take his time to work with us. But coming into the podcast too, which I know is enjoyable for you to some degree, but something a lot of people don't know is David doesn't like to speak much into a microphone. And so getting him to do what he's done today and the last time is a challenge. And he's not as loquacious
And the time
or
before
garrulous
that.
as Bob Zeglin is.
Three of them, Bob.
Was that?
That's three of them.
Unofficially 3.
Three. This is the third one.
Oh, third one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got an ego, and, you know, we can't escape that fact. But I want to thank him and David and Dean and I are just appreciative for your time. And we always want to thank Gizmo
100%.
Yeah.
because
Gizmo.
he's back there working the camera gear and everything. And so we really do appreciate him very much and want to say thank you for watching. And we'll see you in the next go-round.
Yes, sir. See y'all soon.